The international break is now nearly over, and we're asking the big question: how does Sunderland win at the Den? And what does the XG say about Sunderland's performance so far? Are they overperforming or underperforming? We'll ask Leo and Dylan to analyse that with us. Also, they're going to grade the summer window of transfers before we head into the next one. And if Regis Le Bris was to be snapped up by another club, which current Championship manager would these fans want to replace him? Let's jump all through that. First of all, Leo, how on earth do you win away at Millwall?
Well, I said it in the last video. With this international break, it couldn't have come at a better time for us because of who we've got in the next game. You know, it's come at a time where we're on where we value ourselves. 3 draws in a row, that's bad form, and Millwall are on incredible form. So this break hasn't come at a better time. So I feel like we can, that momentum, the downwards momentum for us and the upwards momentum for them has both maybe took a hit with this break. So I think it's a great time to catch them.
Let's have a look at the team, Dylan, that started your last game 2 weeks ago, of course, against Coventry when you threw it away. We're not sure the updates on any injuries, but Dylan, who do you expect to be back, and would you put them in for any changes of this lineup?
The team's going to look completely different, and that's the problem. Obviously, Leo was saying there the break couldn't have come at a better time, which I agree with. But what could not have come at a worse time is the fact that Trey Hume's now missing the next game for yellow cards. Patrick Roberts is missing the next game. Job's going to be missing that game. As you said there might be injuries. Brown and Munda look like they could be out. So it's going to look a completely different team. And with the players we've currently got out injured, Sam Ed's not back, Huggins isn't back. So what we're going to do, we're probably going to have to shift 09 over to right back, play Dan Ballard. We're going to have Alexic in the midfield somewhere, I'd imagine, who hasn't played a game yet. I'm pretty sure from what's been getting said, he doesn't actually speak English at this point, so I don't know how well integrated he is with the side so far. Does he then move Isidore out again to play Connolly? I would much prefer that we just played Isidore through the middle, Watson off the left, and maybe brought Mayenda in off the right because he's back from injury, and at least then you have a left footer off the right wing to sort of, at least profile-wise, do the same thing that Roberts does. But yeah, I think it's especially against the Millwall side, which is very physical and they play very direct football. It might not be pretty, but it's effective. We saw that with missing the likes of Job, our only big, strong midfielder. We're going to struggle against physical sides, and I really am expecting this to be a tough game. And quite frankly, I'd snap your hand off for a point.
Okay. All right. Neil Harris football is not pretty to watch. So this is going to be attritional, I think. You can certainly describe it as that. We want to ask you about whether you think Sunderland have underperformed or overperformed so far this season. This is from Opta, guys. This analyses XG in terms of the XG within games and then what points you should have on the back of it all. According to this, you should sit 6th in the league based on your expected points. But of course, we know you sit top. So what does that say to you, Leo, based on the games you've been watching? First of all, does it say that you've taken your chances certainly when they've come to you, or the other teams have just fluffed their lines when they've had chances against you and you've been slightly lucky?
No, I think this is a mix of both. Just as the Coventry game was an opportunity that we should have took home the 3 points and we didn't. We've had times where we've been behind in games or we've been drawing games and got either that moment of luck or that moment of brilliance, because it has been a mix to win the game or to tie the game. Mesley with Leeds, that was obviously a bit of luck. But then Isidore against Hull, that's a moment of magic. That's won us the game. So I think it's a mix of scoring absolute worldies and a bit of luck, but just hopefully we can continue it.
Dylan, I mean, I know you're not a big fan of XG when we spoke about it in the past, but do you look at that table and take heart from it?
Look, it's a tough one to call. I think Leo sort of hit the nail on the head there. It is a balance of different things. We find ourselves top because other teams around us have dropped points. There's no hiding from that. But also because we've dropped points ourselves in games where we shouldn't have. We should have took minimum 6 from the last 3, in my opinion. you look at if we get those results, we're about 4 points clear, and now we're clear on a 2-goal difference. And it's just, I think when you look at it, I'm to try not to be biased, because normally I am quite, I like to see the good in the team. Even when we've won, there's not been many games where we've looked outstanding. As Leo said there, it's been individual brilliance. Wilson Isidore saved us, got us the 3 points against Hull. We were obviously fortunate against Luton. The good teams we beat when we played Burnley, the side they put out wasn't outstanding. Obviously, you've still got to win, and I understand half of the battle is winning in games where you don't play particularly well. But we're yet to really blow anyone away yet, other than maybe Chef Wedding again. That they weren't exactly outstanding when they came to the stadium alight. So I think part of it is down to the fact it's a young squad and it's a new coach and they're still bedding in. So I'm not too concerned by the fact that we're supposedly overperforming. We just need to make sure that we continue to get the results, whether that be by hook or by crook, and get to January, get a few players in. Hopefully, a couple of the injured players will be back, and then we'll be able to see where our credentials really are. Are we capable of getting top 2 or even the title? I'm sure we'll see in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the January transfer window there. That is coming around the corner. But before that, we've got to officially get your grading on the summer transfer window. You've now seen all the players. You've seen how good they are. You've seen the depth and the quality that you've now finally brought in. So, Leo, for the final time, out of 10, what grade do you give your recruitment in the summer?
I'm going to give it a 9. And that is based on the assumption that we're going to get Isidore on a permanent. If we don't, then that might be docked a couple of points. But, we've got our striker there. Everyone thought we had to replace Clark after he left and was panicking when we didn't. But Mundell's came in and done a brilliant job. I think the recruiting staff knew that, and the Christian Speakman knew that. I think Metham is an unbelievable signing. Dylan raves on about him every week. He's been him and Isidore, the 2 best signings of our window, 100%. Simon Moore, if we didn't sign him, we would have come in and we would have had Blondie in goal, who I've never seen play before. Simon Moore's done a decent job. So I think the only thing that's stopping it from being a 10 is, as Dylan mentioned, the depth in the back line. And I spoke about it at the start of the season. We are injury-ridden every single season with our back line. So a little bit more depth would have helped there. But apart from that, it's been a brilliant window.
Okay. Dylan?
Right, I'm going to have to explain myself here, but I'm giving it a 7 at a push. And that is purely because half of the people we've signed have not played. Samed, it's November. He's still injured. I understand we signed him, we knew he was injured. Samed hasn't been available. Abdullahi hasn't been available. Alexic, obviously, they said he's struggling with the language again, has not featured. Metham being outstanding. Wilson Easter's been outstanding. And they're what's bumping it up, because they have won us points individually. But the fact of the matter is, these players were signed in the summer window. It's now November. Half of them haven't played. Pervader's come in, has played about 9 minutes and got injured. So it's more, the reason it's got to be a low number is because half of the incomings haven't had the chance to be able to do anything yet, so we can't really judge it. Don't get me wrong, come end of the season, maybe Samed come back, and maybe Alexic has found his way into the side and they've all played well. It will go to high, it'll go to an 8 or 9. But at this moment in time, when we're so short, and yes, it's through suspensions, yes, it's through injuries, but then you look at the fact, now that we've eventually lost Trey Hume to suspension, we don't have a backup right back out and out, and I know that's partially down to the fact that Niall Huggins isn't back yet, and I know Onai can fill in there. But we did say we were short in a few areas, and I think due to being unfortunate with suspensions and injuries, it's coming to show where we are still lacking a bit of depth, and I think that probably should have been addressed. Again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We have no suspension, we have no injuries, we're probably still flying, but we're not. And we've got to talk about what's happened and not what might have happened.
Okay, good shout.
I think it's just unlucky that all of these things, the suspension and injuries, have all come at one time. So we've realised, with Job getting the Rig had his problem, which is why he missed out in a previous game. Job's got the red card. Robertson, Hume gets suspended in the same game. In that game, Mundell gets injured. If these things happen just across the pan of a season and all happen as, we've just got to fill one hole, then we probably wouldn't see it as much of a problem. But it's all come at once. So I think, we've got as you say, like going to the Den with the form they're in, we've got a big challenge ahead of us.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Good shouts. Finally, then, strange question to ask, but it is strange time of year. It's usually the time when people get the sack, and we are rapidly looking at teams that in the Premier League and Championship are looking for new players. If Le Bris, and it's not going to happen, it's just a hypothetical. If Le Bris was to go to Southampton, for example, which current Championship manager would you look to replace him with? Dylan?
Well, if he'd asked us a week ago, I would have said Mark Robbins, but obviously he's off the table now because he's out of a job. I think you've got there's no. I was thinking about it. There was no one particularly screaming out to me. Don't get me wrong. You've got the likes of Carlos Colbrand who does play some good football with the West Brom, but as of yet, they hasn't shown sort of promotion credentials as it stands. I think you've got a box quite clever, and you probably take Rob Edwards. I know Luton aren't doing too brilliantly at the moment, but I don't think that's just down to Rob Edwards. There's clearly some things going awry there behind the scenes, and he surely knows that will get teams promoted. And he's knocked us out of the playoffs. So I'd probably say Rob Edwards.
Okay. Leo?
I would say Colbrand is my number one, but because of how secure he's probably in that job at the minute, I'll say Danny Rowe, purely because we were all talking about it at the start of the season, or if he can keep that Sheffield team up of last season in the position they were in, what can he do with a better squad? And I feel like he could do really good things.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Drop your comment below as to which Championship managers you particularly rate, and enjoy your trip to Millwall. Well, certainly you enjoy your trip, Dylan. I know Leo, you'll be watching from afar, and we'll see you in a week's time. Thank you very much for watching.